Now that you are in a new district with the maps being redrawn, does that change anything? You have obviously potentially new constituents who you're looking to get their vote. What are some of the changes that you think will impact this election in terms of the new lines that are drawn?
Well, the new district will include about 280,000 new constituents in 4 new counties. But I have to say that's going really, really well. Been well received in Cambria County, Indiana County, Armstrong County, and the eastern portion of Butler County. I've spent a lot of time there, as I do in all of my counties. Right now I'm actually serving 16 counties in the 5th and 4 new counties, so I'm kind of covering 20 counties. The new district will be a total of 14 counties. It's going well. A lot of similarities between the counties. They're obviously contiguous with existing counties that I serve and represent, and a lot of the issues are very much the same.
What are, obviously many people know you, but since there are some new counties out there, and this is going out to all of central Pennsylvania, those that maybe don't know you, give us a quick background on yourself and your prior experiences.
Oh, sure. My prior experiences, actually, I worked in rehabilitation services. I spent 28 years serving people who were facing life-changing disease and disability, engaged in the community, engaged on workforce issues. I was a member of the Workforce Investment Board. I was a vice president of the Private Industry Council for the Central Corridors. Those are all about workforce, helping connect employers with qualified and trained workers. Scoutmaster, I'm still a Scoutmaster. I've been scouting since I've been 11 years old. State certified firefighter, EMT, rescue technician, school board member, a lay pastor in my church, lay speaker in my church. And so that and just involved in the community. That's kind of what my background is. Obviously, I at this point, having served in Congress for 5 terms, I'm now a senior member on the Agriculture Committee, vice chair of the Agriculture Committee. Agriculture is our #1 industry. 1 out of every 7 jobs in Pennsylvania is directly or indirectly related to agriculture. I think that number's a little higher, actually, in the congressional district. It's also where Penn State gets its authorization. It's through the Farm Bill as a land-grant university through the Agriculture Committee. Involved in the Education Workforce Committee, and that's an issue that is universal out there. We used to talk about the problem was jobs, and it's not today. We have 7.1 million jobs now open and available that employers cannot find people who are qualified and trained. What we have is a workforce issue, and so my national leadership on career and technical education actually is helping to close that skills gap, helping people that need a job or a better job or increased pay through a better job be able to achieve that.
You mentioned obviously agriculture being you're on the committee is a huge. I spoke to the event, the Ag Progress Days, about the impacts about that. But basically, your platform. What are some of the main, especially for this election? What are some of the main issues that you're looking to focus on and are most important or pressing to Central Pennsylvania?
Well, first is workforce, making sure that we're bridging that gap for people that are unemployed, underemployed. We're here in Center County today, and Center County has some of the lowest unemployment, but the highest underemployment. People working 2 and 3 jobs and hardly making ends meet. And so helping those individuals be able to get access to the type of skills-based education to qualify for one of these family-sustaining jobs. That is something we need in all 14 counties in the new Pennsylvania 15th Congressional District. The good news is I'm the national leader on that issue. I was with the president in August in the Oval Office when he signed my Strengthening Career and Technical Education bill into law. But there's so much more than that. Obviously, agriculture specifically, our largest commodity in agriculture is dairy, and our dairy farmers are struggling. We're bringing some solutions who appear to be making a difference, and I'd actually lead the nation on dairy issues as well. My service has been pretty eclectic. It's been based on the needs and the issues that are brought to me by the people that I work and serve, the constituents. And I like to say that what I take back to Washington are the homegrown solutions that I hear from the people that I work with. I've been very successful with that. We've transformed healthcare through the Department of Defense and the VA through a tremendous expansion of telemedicine, and that was all my legislation. A number of bills that I've done that were signed into law by President Obama and now by President Trump. Those those are the types of things that I work very hard to be able to use to serve the needs of the citizens and in the congressional district.
Being the incumbent, well, we'll say de facto incumbent, since this is a new district for you, but nonetheless an established congressman, right? Many would cite that you have the upper hand in this election, but again, you do have some additional districts that you haven't served before. Do you think that there is some battleground there? And how do you like your chances going into election day?
I'm confident going into election day. So because I work hard, I do the right things, and I communicate. I was just endorsed this morning by one of the larger distribution papers in the congressional district in Cambria County, and it's just been a great reception in the new area. So I never really focus a whole lot on my opposition when it comes election time. The way I approach re-election is you earn it, and you earn it by working hard, doing the right things, and communicating. And I think I've been doing that rather well, actually. That's the feedback that I receive from people.
One final question I have to ask you, especially in light of some recent events. There's been much made of the media's connection with Donald Trump and President Trump and some of his recent conduct. Do you feel that, first off, what is your sort of connection to the president,
right.
A, and B, do you feel that will have any type of impact on this election?
I work very closely with the president. I offered to work very closely with President Obama. I didn't have that opportunity, but then again, most of my Democratic colleagues never got that opportunity. It just was a different personality. With President Trump, he likes people, and he wants to work with folks, and it's always in a bipartisan way. And so I've appreciated the opportunities to work closely with the president. Again, transformative legislation of mine that he's signed, whether it's telemedicine, whether it's career and technical education, I greatly appreciate that opportunity. I think what is important for people to look at in this election, because I know that we get caught up in a lot of hyperbole, we get a lot of conflict. What we need to look at, we need to move beyond personalities, and we need to look at outcomes. And the question to ask is you and your family better off today than what it was just 2 years ago? And the majority of the people I talk to would say yes. There's more money in their paycheck. They feel safer. We don't hear anything about North Korea. We don't hear anything about Iran. We don't hear anything about ISIS. Those are on foreign policy side. But on the domestic side, we have, again, 7.1 million jobs. Gross domestic growth is up. It's somewhere between 3.7 and 4.1%. I don't know if you remember under the last administrations, the former president said America would never grow above 1.8%, and it's not happened. We've had 4 million of our neighbors, and I communicate that to families in my work on nutrition. I chair the nutrition subcommittee. 4 million American families that have come off of SNAP program, what we used to call food stamps. And they came off not to be hungry. They came off because they got a good paying family sustaining job. And they're realizing the American dream today. And so I think those are the types of things that matter most. It's the outcomes, it's the results. If people really look honestly at this election on November 6th, and they should cast their vote, they should vote, they should vote their future. And I think their future is what, if you can take all the rhetoric and the words and the personality out of it, it's the positive things that are happening for American families.